Hi, I'm Dr. Herman here, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of information about your fibromyalgia condition. Um, really what doctors are missing when they're evaluating you for your fibromyalgia condition, or whatever it really is that's causing you the pain and the malfunction in your body that you're not happy with. And I say that without minimizing your concerns, but commonly doctors will just call you fibromyalgia when they can't figure out what's going on with your system or systems. What I do different is when somebody comes in with the diagnosis of fibromyalgia, is I take a step back and I look at the whole picture of the whole person. You've got to understand that your body is the sum of all of its parts, like your intestines, like your stomach, like your liver, like your kidneys, your adrenal glands, like your brain, your thyroid, and everything else that's involved in this system. So commonly when patients come in here, they've already had certain blood tests done, but those blood tests are basic blood tests. They're looking at red blood cells and white blood cells. They're looking at cholesterol, and they're looking for maybe a urinary tract infection, and sometimes patients are going to doctors of like internists or rheumatologists where they've had, maybe they're looking for lupus antibodies or rheumatoid arthritis. And when those come up negative, doctors just commonly say, well, here's a depressor medication or here's an anti-inflammatory medication. And really, they don't know what to do. So again, what I do different is I take a step back and I look at the picture of the whole person. And there are various tests that we have to run to figure out your systems. Which I'll get into on separate videos with you, but one thing you've got to understand about these labs is not every laboratory is good at doing every lab evaluation for every specific individual part of the body. There are certain labs that are great at reading basic blood tests, and there are certain labs that are not good at doing stool analysis. There are certain labs that can look for adrenal function, but they may not have a complete adrenal function analysis. So it leaves some pieces of the puzzle just unanswered, and especially if you go into a doctor who doesn't understand how things function together in the body and how to put it together. When patients come to meet with me, they say, it's talking with you, Dr. Herman, it's like speaking to a neurologist who understands the nervous system, really understands the nervous system, not just by giving you a pill. Speaking with Dr. Herman, I feel like I'm speaking with an endocrinologist at times. I feel like I'm speaking with a blood chemistry specialist. I feel like I'm speaking with a gastrointestinal specialist. You've got to understand, we've got to look at all the parts of the puzzle and we've got to put it together with you. One final thing I want to talk about in today's video about your fibromyalgia is when the labs are read, when a doctor runs that blood test on you, they're reading a lab with the laboratory ranges in mind as what is the low end of normal and what's the high end of normal. And there are so many times that I find in patients that, for instance, like their blood sugar levels are looked at as normal when really they're feeling fatigued, and once we raise their blood sugar a little bit, they start to function better. So what I mean to say here is there are functional ranges that are much tighter, and there are laboratory ranges that are more broad. The labs do something that patients are not aware of, and what these labs commonly do is they take their population, like there are diabetics who are getting their blood read, there are people with anemia getting their blood read, there are people with AIDS getting their blood read, there are people with hepatitis conditions getting their blood read, there are people who are anorexic and people who are obese and people who have are hypoglycemic and people who have had strokes and have cancers, and you get my point. Everybody who's getting analyzed by their blood in that lab, goes into the lab's range, and they call it a bell curve analysis. So everybody's fitting into this lab range. So for instance, the blood sugar level in that lab may say 65 is the low end of normal and 99 is the high end of normal. Really, we see that when somebody's falling below the level 85 in their blood sugar reading on a fasting blood sugar test, that they could be showing signs of reactive hypoglycemia patterns. So in other words, your blood sugar level doesn't have to fall below 65 for you to start showing signs of fatigue or lack of normal brain function and memory and thoughts and so on. Okay? In another video, we'll be talking about some other conditions, and I'll break this down to try to make it more simple for you to understand why we have to look at every part of your system and how you can get well and overcome this fibromyalgia condition. It is not a mystery. It's a mystery to the doctor who only knows how to look at one thing and prescribe you one type of medication, which will not give you the help. So thank you for listening into this video, and I look forward to the next video and helping you get well. My number is 954-370-3100. Thank you.